try and do today is to give you some insights, right? So I've been talking to David for a couple of years now, I think, something like that. So David joined the apprenticeship in February, and from my perspective, David's one of the leading minds on this at the moment, right? So he's really pushing it, and I really like what he's doing inside of Rolls-Royce. So I've asked him to share with the rest of you what he's doing, what it means for the community, what it means in terms of driving that forward across his team, and what it means for project delivery overall. So David's a bit of a pioneer, he's a bit of a pathfinder. He's leading something called the Project Data Analytics Coalition as well, so he'll tell you about that in a bit. So in terms of Q&A today, so we'll blast through the slides. So if you have got some questions, put your hand up and we'll bring you in. So it's a bit of a conversation today as well. It's not just David talking. There's a bit of a conversation with all of us, and I'll be sort of talking through some of the points with him as well. I do think David really understands this deeply. He understands the scale of the opportunity as well. So hold on tight. So let's see what David's got in store. So David, over to you, sir.
Okay, good
Welcome.
afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, all good.
Excellent. So I just thought I'd do a little bit of a quick intro, so you can see my lovely picture top right. So yeah, I'm the head of project management for Rolls-Royce business unit. It's one of the ones in defence. I have 450 project professionals working across basically the full project life cycle. So really early R&T work, science pretty much, right through to in service, not quite disposal, but almost. I started out as an engineer and I went into project management about 8 years ago. And I've worked in a variety of different PM roles, and really, I guess I'm really passionate about enhancing PM capability, and now how project analytics can really help us shape and I guess redefine and reimagine the PM profession. And yeah, I'm a chartered engineer, chartered PM, member of the APM, and just a bit of clarification. So I'm not a data scientist, I'm not a programmer or an expert. I am literally an apprentice. So I started the apprenticeship in February on the PMO cohort. We've got a cohort of about 27 people, mixture of companies, quite a few mod people, but started that apprenticeship. And really today I wanted to talk around, I guess, how I've created a bit of an ecosystem around the apprenticeship and also things around the Product Analytics Coalition. As Martin said, if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand and I can answer it. It'd be good to have this as a conversation, more interactive than just me talking. So yeah, and yeah, happy to do that. So if you've got a question, please raise your hand and one of the team will call you in. So that's a bit about me. So why is Rolls-Royce really interested in project analytics? The group I'm in is under a new contract, which is through the government. That contract is all about doing more for the same. So we need to deliver a significant amount of benefits to grow the projects and programs that we're doing. And we need to do that because obviously there are funding constraints in government. We do a lot of time of our teams kind of feeding the beast. Our reporting burden is quite high. And also we're seeing a really high demand for PM skills, particularly around specialists. So we're talking about people that are kind of lead planners, project controls leads, PMO managers, project controls managers, that kind of thing. And actually, as a company, we've been really successful in recruiting the junior to, I guess, kind of 5 years or so of experience in PM. So we've not actually got an issue at the moment recruiting younger junior members of staff, but recruiting specialists has been really hard for us. Also, we know actually as a company, if we don't use new technology, we'll fall behind. This technology is moving at pace, so we want to be using that, and the benefits are immense. So we can see how we can really increase not only product delivery but productivity across our teams. And you'll have seen in the wider press there's ranges of estimates around the impact on kind of different functions and professions. And personally, I think again we could see upwards of 40% in terms of savings. And I guess as well, we work a lot with government, and you can see the kind of link from the IPA there around data analytics and AI. Soon it will be an expectation from government. So these are all the reasons why Rolls-Royce are really trying to get to grips with and really develop capability around project analytics. And on the right, you'll see a nice picture. So yeah, as a company, we're trying to put a nuclear reactor on the moon. So yeah, we need all the help we can get. So this is a little bit about the content, so I'll kind of whiz through this, but I'll talk a little bit about kind of where we see it going, a bit of context, and again, that's some from my prior experience as well. Talk around skills, hacks, the apprenticeship, kind of where one example of where we could take PDA, show our kind of strategic roadmap, and that's really a short-term roadmap at the moment, but I'll share that what we've got. I'll talk about the importance of governance and sponsorship and what we're trying to do there. Talk about the community of practice we set up in our company, and then I'll finish on the coalition. And again, if you want to ask questions, ask them throughout the presentation, but we'll also do questions at the end. So again, many of you have seen this, so I won't spend too much time on it, but clearly PDA can help us in a number of ways. So understanding how we can do things to impact delivery, optimize our resources, integrate lots of different data. In PM, we have lots of different data sources. Just this morning, I was working on looking at some of our bids and some of our live demands and trying to interrogate the two. We've got lots of data, lots of different ways and lots of different assumption sets as well. We think we can make some significant productivity improvements. We can use PDA to look at how we can actually allocate resources and also do a lot more things in real time. So as processing data takes less and less time, we can use that data, and that might change our cadence, etc., because we can then do that in a much more real-time basis. And then just a few things here on the slide. So just a few things that I guess are right now and today. So top left, we've got a GPT trained on kind of P6. So in my team, I have a number of super users in different systems. Those people are inundated with requests about how to use different tools. I would love to say the questions we get are really complex ones, but most of them are fairly menial. And that's taken my really highly experienced and also quite often expensive people and not using them effectively. So again, this is something that is available today. The bottom left is some Python code generated by ChatGPT. So my team's actually taken this and created a schedule health tool. And again, there we're looking at whether we can avoid a lot of license costs for particular software. So again, we've done that, we've tested that, and we're doing some more extensive testing now and trying to work out how we can make that a bit more user friendly. So the functionality works at the moment. It's just outputting into Python screen. We need to take that and obviously industrialize, etc. On the right hand side, you can see a chatbot. So with Martin's help, when Martin came down in December, effectively in a couple of hours, we created a chatbot which was trained itself on our processes, our PM processes. So how to do certain things in PM. And again, this is all possible now. And again, from my perspective, very similar to my kind of system super users, I have people that have to help people on a daily basis on what to do and how to do that. And obviously, kind of PDA and AI can really help us and engage our people in how to do certain tasks. And then just in the middle here, hopefully this video will play. It's quite fast, so I might play it twice, but this is just ChatGPT answering how to create AWS for constructing new civil nuclear power station. And obviously it's scarily quick and actually quite scarily good. So in our business, we quite a lot of safety cases. So I asked ChatGPT can you create me a outline safety case for a valve? What would it include? What data source would I need? Put that in front of our engineering director, and it was a pretty good result. And obviously that's just a couple of prompts. So clearly, in terms of for PMOs, what we can do with PDA is going to be quite amazing, and this is just scratching the surface at this point. And then the only thing I'd say really in this introduction, so I was actually the head of PMO at Jaguar Land Rover. I wasn't there for very long, but that's really where I started to see some of the new tools and techniques coming into play. So the guy in the right-hand side of the slide's a guy called Gareth Crompton. He basically was a production line worker. He injured himself lifting up a barrel of some kind of fluid. He was sat at home and thought, what am I going to do? So what he did was he ended up teaching himself how to create power apps. His first power app that he created was around HS&E reporting. That saved Jaguar Land Rover £80,000 every year. He's then gone on to create hundreds of power apps to deliver significant benefits for Jaguar Land Rover. You can see his stuff on the Microsoft site as well. So if you type in power apps Jaguar Land Rover, you'll see some of this content. And really why I'm saying this now is PDA is not, it's for projects people. You don't need to be a data scientist. You don't need to be a programmer. You can be someone without a degree, and that's not to say anything to insult people without degrees, but now this is in the hands of the masses. So with that, we're not reliant on having specialist coding expertise, and genuinely people can start to pick up these skills. Some of the stuff that we've done internally already around low-code tools, and someone that is going to be presenting with me at the House PMO conference later this year has created a load of workflows. He's got a background as a civil servant in HMRC, and again, the kind of new tools, these low-code tools, have really enabled him to create some pretty amazing products, which will lead to some really good outcomes for our company. Also, just linked on the bottom there, is that there's loads of stuff now that's effectively available open source. So open source large language models, code repositories, etc. So again, there is a lot of stuff out there which we can actually already use and apply, which again is quite a different context than years and years ago, where basically you were reliant on very specialist people or very specialist software. Okay, so we can talk a little bit now around how I guess we're developing skills in PDA. I'm just going to take a quick drink, it's got a bit of cold. So we kind of grouped our kind of learning experience into these three categories. So experiential, so getting people to go to project hacks. So my team have now been to, I think, 3 or 4 project hacks. I'm going to talk about hacks on the next slide. A lot of the experiential stuff is just from doing. So we've automated or semi-automated quite a few different processes or tasks. We could look at creating new tools. So we've actually created new tools through different workflows at the moment, and we'll be doing more around schedule health and other things. We can look at things and reverse engineer them as well. And I guess really the emphasis here is we are experimenting. So, you know, we are starting small, we're testing things in safe spaces, so building them, creating them in safe spaces, testing them, and then we can scale things up. So we've got things, effectively workflows we've tried on one project or program, which we're now scaling to the whole business this year. And that's really important because you just learn so much from doing. And then from a socials perspective, we are engaging and creating a community around our apprentices. So I'm going to talk about community of practice later on. We're trying to engage wider with our sector. So my part of Rolls-Royce engaging with other parts of Rolls-Royce like SMRs and civil aerospace and defence. And now we're starting to engage with wider industry. So we've had a few coalition meetings so far this year. We've actually got our first face-to-face workshop on Monday. And this is, again, we'll all start to learn from other companies in a good way. And I'm going to talk about the coalition right at the end. And also, I guess, as we're now, my team's getting into this world, there are lots of kind of interfacing or adjacent functions that we're also trying to learn from as well. So working with our management information system team, so they control a lot of the kind of data engineering, our digital team, which is kind of our hub for creating digital improvement, and also with IT. Naturally, you'd be amazed about how many people probably in your own organization are interested in things related to PDA and AI, just because it's really interesting. And then formal, so we've got 7 people on the level 4 data analyst apprenticeship. We'll be putting a load more people on that shortly, and then we'll have plans for how we can utilize the kind of other levels of the apprenticeship as well at level 3 and 7. There's also a lot of like online stuff out there, so edX and others, Coursera, other things where people are starting to teach themselves through more formal approaches, and also through different events. So APM corporate partners events and other things like that that the APM put on, and I'm sure there are others, but these are the ones that my team and company are involved in. Any questions? And kind of.
So, David, I've got a couple.
Pretty quick. Yeah, of course, mine.
So the first question is, why you? So why did you get on this, right? So what fired up you? And you're a senior guy. Why are you on an apprenticeship?
So in terms of why, I guess, not to embarrass Martin, but I met Martin about 2 years ago at an APM event, and I guess I was blown away by what was possible. I'm really passionate about adding value, and I'm really passionate about eliminating waste. It's something which has been inbuilt for me since I started at Rolls-Royce, around trying to make things more efficient and better. So I think when you kind of look at what's possible, it's really hard to change your mindset afterwards, because you will see people, as I do now as I walk into the office, doing things which I think that is just a waste of time. We could do this so much better. So that's really kind of why I'm fired up about it, because I think really this is the single biggest improvement probably anyone in PM can make. And then why am I an apprenticeship? I guess from my experience, you can't lead something if you don't really understand it. So the apprenticeship for me is a vehicle to get my understanding up there, understanding my awareness, so I can challenge people to do what is possible. And I think this kind of whole area is so new. Senior leaders do need to understand it, and that's not going to be from going on a 1-day course. It's going to be from quite a significant amount of investment, but that investment for me, it pays it back in weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. So David, in terms of driving this forward, right, there is the sort of issue about driving up productivity, so personal productivity, and there's the issue about transforming project delivery, right? And some of this is not necessarily just doing the thing we're doing today, but more quickly or more productively. It's starting to reimagine it. So where are you in that space, and what's that starting to mean? And I think Christoph's got some questions as well. So Christoph, you want to come in a minute?
Yeah, so I'll just answer that one. So for us at the moment, we need to release capacity, because if we don't release that capacity, we can't then get people to then have the time to build the capability and reimagine things. So our focus at the minute is on trying to do what we do today quicker, more effectively. However, we also have a number of things that we are doing, which is trying to push that envelope more. So we're trying to tackle both ends. But obviously we've got people that are nearing about a year on the apprenticeship. So those people are starting to really think differently, because they've had much more learning. And obviously we've got a great deal number of stakeholders to deal with as well. So we need to all take them on that journey. And if we tell everyone we're going to change all of your jobs tomorrow, that'd be quite hard to manage. So yeah, we're trying to inspire people, work on a few kind of key things that will really show people this is the way, and then that'll just build and build and build.
Cool. So Christoph, would you like to jump in with your questions?
Yeah, the first one you actually just answered. I was asking whether your biggest benefit that you're predicting is going to be an increase in effectiveness of staff or an ability to get rid of people. But you've just answered that one. The other question I had is that with 450 project professionals under you and working for the MOD, there's going to be a huge amount of quality assurance on your work by the MOD, I expect. And are you likely to see frustrations at that level with the over egged manpower maybe that's then looking at something which is way more efficient?
I think obviously we've got a journey to go on with our customer. I think they'll start to see the benefits, and that's why we're working with people that work for the MOD to try and work with them. So we need to try and help them see how we can be more effective as well. And what I'd say is this is not for me about reducing jobs. I think as we deliver, I think the amount of PM people on each project as a unit will go down. But I think if we can deliver more projects, there'll be a lot more projects for us to deliver. So it'll kind of be that there'll be a greater demand for PM people. But I think the demand per unit will go down. That makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'll continue, but yeah, feel free to ask questions. So project hacks. So I went to my first one a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, really enjoyed my experience. In fact, it was fantastic. So I think for myself, it's always great to solve a problem, and even better when you're using really cool technology. So my team effectively built an API to read CVs using ChatGPT and to create like a dynamic understanding of the skills of those people. And then we pulled that into Power BI to create like a skills matrix. And then we didn't quite finish this bit, we started to use optimization algorithms to match people to projects. And it was really great fun. We got really quite good output. You can see the video, the links on these slides, and I'm sure they'll get distributed afterwards. But it was great. So I had a team of people from Sorup McAlpine, from Method Grid, from National Highways, and actually it was fantastic to be put into a brand new team of people where you don't quite know each other, but you still got to work together to solve a problem. That was really good. And actually still message a few people from that group to see how they're getting on. So that was really great to meet people. And I guess even for myself before the hack, you kind of see a lot of things online, a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, a lot of stuff on the internet around AI, but you never really see it in action on something that you care about. So seeing kind of creation of a skills matrix is something which I do care about in PM, and actually seeing how you can actually do it was really great. And yeah, I guess I've just started the apprenticeship myself, kind of can have a little bit of understanding about the art of the possible. But that was great for me. So yeah, as a newcomer, I could really contribute. So I really enjoyed that. And even better, my team won a prize. So we won some Amazon vouchers. So there you go, the cherry on the cake. And really, I guess now thinking from from my role as like head of function, there were some of those challenges which were Rolls-Royce problems that we were trying to solve. So we could use the hacks to actually solve some of our problems or build on some of the solutions we'd already had. It could help identify talent in your teams. My people from Rolls-Royce had really great fun as well. So, it helps their engagement. They get to be involved in things a little bit different from the day job. And also you can clearly spot talented people from across the hacks as well. So if you're looking to recruit people, you can use that as a bit of a vehicle as well if you wanted to. And build your network as well. So it was really interesting, even on things like skills matrices. We had a bit of a chat in our team around what people do, and actually almost identical across multiple companies. So we're all actually trying to solve very similar challenges, and it's quite interesting to see the different spins on different things, but fundamentally we actually are working on solving the same problems. And then imagine if we had hundreds of people or thousands at a hack, what we could actually deliver. Because basically in a day and a half we had to actually create that solution. We created something which was the outline solution of something that could really work. So yeah, I can ask me a question, Martin.
So David, in terms of that approach, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to the IPA yesterday, so they came to the Project Data Analytics meetup. So in the afternoon, they'd been to UCL, and there was a government hack with loads of data scientists there.
Okay.
So they're saying that the data scientists got involved, and there were university sort of undergraduates, etc. They all came together and was solving problems. So what's your view in terms of a data science only hack versus a mixture of apprentices, externals, students, plus our team as well, because we've got some good guys in the team. So what's your view on the difference between the two?
So I keep getting asked this question around in my own team, like, David, shouldn't your people that are good at this stuff work for the central team, like just with the data scientists? And I'm like, well, no, because actually we need people that understand the problems to work with those people to actually create the solutions. So you can't create a great solution if you're just from one skill set, forget even the level of skill. So for me, I think the variety of different people involved actually helps you solve the problem. And I think actually, there, even on the hack that I was on, we had one person that had quite a good programming background. The rest were either people that have been on the apprenticeship for a year or so. But I think one of the other teams was quite high on data scientists or people that were on paper much more capable. However, they didn't win. So I think even in the hack that I went to, it was clear that it's not just the data scientists that will win this. You need people that really understand the problem. So yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
thank you.
I'll move on. So talk a little bit about the apprenticeship. So obviously this is the content level 4 apprenticeship, but yeah, this is not a training course for us. It's really a vehicle to deliver change. So it's allowing us to develop good capability. And I guess the feedback I have from my people that have been on for a year or so is they get a good grounding in lots of different aspects. They can start to develop things themselves from the apprenticeship, and it's allowing them to see where they need to learn further. But really, it's about developing real value as well out of the apprenticeship. So the projects that we've had started have been able to generate some real benefits already. So just one thing that we did was we created a better load capacity tool. Again, we've got lots of data. We've got over 1,000 schedules. We've got capacity data based on all of our different teams and the level of utilization, overtime, etc., that we build into our business planning. And we were able to enhance our existing tool set, which is all in Excel, into Power BI, and actually that's been really, really useful. And even if we looked at that tool, we could see much better our low capacity gaps. And if we just solved 10% of that gap, so not the whole gap, but just 10%, you're talking millions of pounds of better utilized resources across our company. So again, that's just out of an apprenticeship, and that was someone that was probably about 4 or 5 months in. So it's really, really powerful. But I think really the power is how people then think differently. So when people see what is possible, they then start to, you can't then unsee it. So when they go about the day to day, they then start to think about, right, we can do this better, we can do that better. And I guess why the apprenticeship is really good over just a training kind of course where you go on it for a week. I guess you are applying your knowledge. That's really the key difference for me. So it's really easy to go on a course and then by the next Monday kind of forget about it because you're back in your day job. The apprenticeship allows people to both focus on their daily challenges, but actually solve them with the skills that they're learning, which again is a much better learning experience and develops real capability. And it's free, so for me, it's a complete no-brainer. It's covered by the apprentice levy for us, and it's developing some really great capability, which will really, really change how we operate and how effective we are. So why wouldn't you do it? So on this next bit, I just wanted to talk about a little bit around I guess, how we're trying to use both the hacks and the apprentice projects. So obviously projecting success through Martin and others have created these kind of bubble charts of visions for 2025. And I just wanted to take one to just say how you can actually then look at one of these visions, break that down, and then solve them via effectively apprenticeship projects or hacks. So this one here on the screen is around how stable is the plan based on the assurance kind of vision. So again, if you take that, how stable is the plan, you can kind of break that down into different sections. So start to architecture like a solution to that overall challenge. So you can look at the logic and duration. So looking at things where there's been changes of logic or compressed durations in plans. You can look at like new tasks that have been added. You can look at how change is being managed. So, is it like, what's the behavior of the plan? Is it like quite erratic? Is it more stable? How volatile is it? And then you can break that out further into confidence. So again, we can start to develop models to determine schedule confidence and visually summarize that across multitudes of plans to look at where we're actually seeing where we need to focus our interventions or not. So this really is just trying to show how we can use the hacks, we can use the apprentice projects to start picking off each of these like one by one. And if we can focus our efforts around solving particular aspects and kind of ticking off different aspects together, we start to solve different pieces. And as those pieces come together, we develop quite a good section of capability around one particular area of PM. So that's what we're trying to do around that. We're kind of selecting our using our apprentices and the projects they're doing, and also how Rolls-Royce are submitting hack challenges as well. So this is our overall kind of roadmap. So it's just a roadmap. The one thing I'd say is the technology moves so quickly. Creating a really heavy detailed plan for this stuff is just a waste of time. So we tried to distill on one page what we were trying to do. So from a people aspect, we're trying to set and share the vision, get people excited about PDA and what it can do for us in project delivery space. We're trying to develop our networks inside the company and try to really focus on delivering benefits. So what are the things we can do right now to free up people, and then keep going. And then in terms of methods, like we're quite restricted on different tool sets because we work in a secure environment, but there's quite a lot of things we do have access to. So we're trying to make sure we get the most out of those things while then trying to make the case for new systems that obviously will need more investments and more funding. Yes, Martin.
So David, a question about that first swim lane about people.
Yeah.
So are you dragging people kicking and screaming, or have you got people queuing up to do this? So where are you on that spectrum?
We don't have anyone that's kicking and screaming. I think there are generally some people that are quite, I'd say, nervous about it. It's something that's brand new. There's loads of stuff out there, articles and clickbait around AI. But we also, the more people we speak to, the more interested and excited people are. So I've been around all of our all of our directors, and they're all really chomping at the bit to see how they can support things. Just mindful that we can't do everything all at once. But yeah, we've got people that are generally quite excited, but there are people that are resistant to any kind of change, which again we have to manage.
So what's your advice to the people who's on the call in terms of trying to fire people up and get them going? Is it bottom up, top down, mixture of the two? How do you do it? Lunch and learns, show stuff.
So
what's the overall approach?
So I've done a bit of everything, or my team have done a bit of everything. So we've done lunch and learns with the whole PM function. I've done director and first line presentations about what we're doing in PM, tried to show them some of the exciting videos and stuff of things that are possible. So I've done a mixture of things, and also some of our key PM stakeholders are program directors and work with that group as well. So I've done a bit of everything really, and they're starting now to pull for more. So they're like, when's the next time you give us an update, David? So again, it's been really good from that perspective. And then I have a list of people that all want to do the apprenticeship, but we're trying to make sure we get the right people that will start building more apprenticeship first before we go to anyone. So we're trying to curate who's on the apprenticeship to get the best benefit, and also to set up the next cohort in the best way. So between our first and second cohort, the first people for us have really kind of pipe cleaned it for us. So they've now set up everything for the second cohort. So we know what forms to fill in, we know what software to download. It's just made it really, really slick. But obviously you need those first people to be a bit more resilient, because obviously it's all new. There's not a load of people that can go and ask, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? So we put some really good people on the first cohort who have now made it a lot easier for our second. And again, that community is now bigger and bigger and bigger. So for the third cohort that should be starting soon, they'll have the experience of 2 other cohorts, and again, it will be really a lot easier for them to kind of really get going.
So when is the tipping point? When do you think you get the tipping point where this is just like starts to snowball?
I think relatively soon for us. I think we've got a number of kind of the bigger projects that we really need to land. So we've got a couple of those planned for this year, and I think once we do that, I think that will start to really shape things. I think as well, I've had some quite challenging conversations with IT around how they spend money, because obviously for them this is totally new, and I guess I see our company spend quite a lot of money on specific bespoke software. And I'm like, we need to change that. We need to think about how we can like develop capability. So not just how to do this one task, but how to do many tasks. What is the task it's really solving? And a lot of them is databases, workflows, processes. So we can actually spend a lot less money and buy a whole set of capability that we can tailor for multiple different areas. So I think that is starting to land. And I think when that lands and we can start really shifting our ecosystem to be much more optimal, that's where we'll get a huge effect. So yeah, I think it's probably kind of 6 to 12 months really, I would say.
Right, cool, brilliant, thank you.
So just going back to then tools. So again, we're looking at how we can get on-premise large language models. We've got a team of people in our digital team are doing that, and basically I spoke to them and they said, right, we're doing this, but we don't know what the use case is. I'll give you one. I'll send you all of our super user processes for how to use SAP project systems, and they're now training that on-premise large language model with those processes. But obviously those projects take a little bit longer because they're not things you can just do straight away like that. And then yeah, at the bottom we'll talk about cross-enterprise collaboration. So they're just some of the members of the coalition that we've started and I'm chairing. And again, that's really, really exciting, and I'll talk about that towards the end. So this slide just talked about the importance of governance and sponsorship. So to get the most out of the apprenticeship, it can't be seen as a training course. You need to make sure you put some structure around it. And in fact, I have someone who works for Rolls-Royce now who's actually done the apprenticeship and did the apprenticeship about 2 years ago. And they said basically the reason they left that company was because they got all these great tools, they got all these great thoughts about how to do things. The company they worked for didn't really want to do it, so they left and now joined Rolls-Royce, which is great for me. So yeah, you need to make sure you really put something around it. So you need to, from my experience, as we've started with someone that is governing those projects, that backlog helps prioritized. And I guess we've also tried to pick and group our apprentices together, because again, together they'll achieve more, and they'll achieve even more if they've got clear direction over the real things to focus on. And also trying to make sure you get a balance over that, I guess, automation left hand side through the kind of reimagine on the right hand side. So again, that governance, like managing a portfolio, you can make sure you've got the right balance. And also you want to make sure people are solving the real challenges, not just doing things to make their specific or individual jobs easier, which they could do. And also I guess you can then start to architect and develop solutions that will build to something bigger than just individual bits of capability. And again, really making sure that benefits are measured as well. And that's really important because again, to create this kind of momentum, we all need to show how we're delivering benefits. So that's another benefit of that governance. And then from a leadership and sponsorship point of view, there'll be loads of barriers. We've had loads that have come up and more come as you make progress. Someone needs to really champion it and keep knocking those barriers down. And yeah, change is hard. Takes resilience, it takes tenacity. There's loads of people that will basically laugh if you say you're going to do some stuff in AI, but they're wrong. People, you can do it, but it can be difficult. And obviously you need to take people with you as well. So the more people you've got kind of at the really top levels in your company, that'll help things as well. And also then being able to showcase those capabilities to do more things and also to get funding. So some of these things aren't free, obviously. So you need to make sure you've got people that have got your back. And also there are lots of different stakeholders. And often the stakeholders will work for different aspects of the company. So you need someone that's got the credibility and the influence to bring those groups together. And I guess as well, you want to focus on the outcomes that your organization needs. So yeah, you can save money, you can redeploy people, but you can also reimagine and deliver projects on time, which often many companies don't, and for the cost you expected. So yeah, if you've got that sponsorship, you can really understand what you're trying to do and then build for your governance a set of projects and people that are going to work around that. So that's like my thoughts on that.
That's really good, David. So in terms of your governance and sponsorship, have you got a board around this? Have you got some senior leader who's saying, right, David, I want you to achieve this by this date, or is it largely driven by you?
Largely driven by myself at this point, and the input from my direct boss around our current challenges. But in terms of how we manage that, we are managing all of our projects through our community of practice and through the backlog that we built. So it's a mixture of informal and formal at the moment. But yeah, I'm heavily involved in that. And obviously, yeah, we are quite small at this point, but obviously that'll get bigger and bigger. And we're obviously engaging with wider other governance boards around digital, etc. So yeah.
Great, thank you.
So yeah, talked a little bit there about our community of practice. So we've got all of our apprentices together, myself included, and built a COP. So we get together every month. It's been really good already. So we do things like share the latest news about AI, talk about different events. So you'll see there's an event that was happening in one of our facilities that one person found out about, got everyone else to go, and kind of went together to start to learn about new kind of data and digital technology. We've also been able to use it to support each other. So talk about the projects that we have, and people said, I've got this real issue on this. How can we solve it? And then someone said, oh, you could do that. And likewise, just through those people working together, they also have their own networks. So someone had a particular issue with some Python code, and they said, oh, I know someone that works in this team, they can probably help you out. And they did. So again, it's just building those people together to kind of almost solve their own problems. Because again, on your own, it can be quite daunting, but in a group of people all doing the same kind of thing, but with a diverse range of skills themselves, again, it's quite amazing to see what can be solved within those groups. And also just to make sure everyone's clear on the actual backlog and the priority of the tasks that we're doing. And also to allow me to knock down any barriers that come up, so I can address questions, I can take things away, and make sure people have the support they need. And I think this will evolve over time. At the minute, it's just 8 people. Soon there'll be more groups forming, almost separate COPs within different business units as they get more apprentices. And then obviously through that as well, you get to see within that, from my perspective, who the real movers and shakers are, who are the people that should be supporting others and mentoring and coaching others, and also leading some of the bigger projects. So yeah, that COP's been really good. And yeah, people get a lot out of it as well. It's nice to form a community. So now I'm going to start talking about the coalition, if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
So this was something that I shared a while back. So imagine if we had a group of large companies working together, arming our PM people with project analytics capability, pooling our efforts together. It's almost like a super cop between companies, using other crowdsource type solutions through hacks and other things, and using all of our talent and experience and developing a piece of capability and sharing for the benefit of all. That would be quite powerful, and that's effectively what the coalition is there to do. So you can see on this slide, this is the vision of the coalition that's been agreed between its members. So yeah, we're there to work together, trying to share best practice, and already the people at Sellafield have shared some work with us, and that's really great. So we've built this set of behaviours around kind of keeping things between ourselves. There's some confidential stuff, there's some stuff which wouldn't otherwise be shared, but already it's been really good that people are sharing different things with each other. And already there are things in that report which I know my team have solved, so I can share those things now with Sellafield, so that'll be really great. And we can just do so much. There's so much to go out. We can just do so much more, and also just learn from each other in different ways. So how have you dealt with deploying that technology? How have you dealt with those stakeholders? We've all got a role in championing, communicating, and delivering change. How can we actually pool our resources just on that area? Because that's obviously a key task for most businesses. And yeah, together I think we can make a real massive impact on the project delivery profession. But yeah, it's just the start. So we've had a couple of meetings so far. We've got a workshop on Monday. Really excited about that, and that's where we'll start to really get into the nitty-gritty and the actions around how we're actually going to make this happen. But already I think it's been great, because we can say, even our own organisations, actually we're working with these other companies, and that carries a lot more weight than just doing it on your own. And I think the other organisations have already started to see that benefit as well. So I've talked about some of the benefits, but the other thing I'd say is, and I said this towards the beginning, we're all kind of solving very similar, almost identical challenges, and all of our organisations are spending time and effort doing that. If we had that focus and we shared more, we gave each other some of that capability, we'd all be much more effective. And I'm confident we can really make a massive difference. And I guess this concept can go even further. So again, talked about kind of almost coalitions, or with other groups, so with our clients and with our supply chain. We could look at things like the latest AI tools and share our experience, see what works. And obviously with a large group of big companies or even small companies, that carries quite a lot of weight, so we can shape and the development of these new tools for the benefit for us and for the wider PM profession. And also it'll start to set expectations around the people we work with as well. So I think the coalition will be a really great vehicle for all of our companies to achieve a really big change and to make a really big impact to the PM profession for the benefit of everyone. So I'm really excited to be part of it. I think that's me.
So David, you're not part of it, you're leading it, right? It would not happen if it weren't for you. So a massive thanks from all of us, because you're making a difference. Yeah, thank you so much. So if I could open the floor, that was brilliant, David. You really nailed it. I think there's a load of stuff in there that people can take away. I think you're way in front of a lot of other people, way in front. And I'm struggling to work out why people aren't doing what you're doing. All right. So I do see some clients at the moment where people are getting trained up in this stuff, exactly what you said, and they're getting fed up because they go back. It's like training a carpenter to be a master carpenter and giving them a screwdriver.
Yeah.
I can't understand it. I'm scratching my head on it, and there's no governance around it. They just put them on a training course and then they go back and rot. And for me, what you're doing is absolutely brilliant, right? And you've been on this apprenticeship for like a few months, and your vision, you're taking it. It's brilliant, really, really brilliant.
Yeah,
So
genuinely, it's been like I've learned so much even in the first couple of months. So I'm really, really enjoying it myself personally. And I think, again, for me, it's about leadership and trying to really understand. And you can't do that just from scratching the surface. This is too big.
yeah, yeah. And it's that reimagining piece as well. I think a lot of people don't get that. I think it's just taking what we've got today and just automate that and give me another dashboard. It's so much more. And you seem to be in that space about really stretching it.
Yeah, I'm sure we can do that. I think, like I said, the immediate things we're trying to do is to kind of release that capacity. We are doing some things which, again, are trying to reimagine. But yeah, I'm confident when you see like what you can actually do, that it will reimagine what we do and it will shape our organization as well.
Yeah, yeah. So it's an opportunity of a lifetime as well, isn't it, David? You know, you're going to be the pathfinder on this. So when we look back in 20 years' time, this will be the sort of turning point for the profession. It's massive. Massive.
It's really exciting. Really exciting.
So we've got Dave in the shadows. So Dave, have you got a question for David?
Yeah, well, it's sort of answering your question, Martin, because you see, why isn't everyone else doing this? And we're a little bit in the starting blocks, and we've got people on the data apprenticeship. We've done a lot on mindset in the last year, where we've introduced some new tools from our tool set. But ultimately, where we struggle is data security. So I'll be interested, not probably to answer now, David, but I'll catch up with you on Monday of the data security around the nuclear side of it. But everyone will have some sort of data security because projects are commercially sensitive, etc. And then when you peel yourself back from your project tool set, which is ultimately you go back to whatever corporate entity you come from, but you will have some infrastructure, whether that's your data platforms, your data lakes, whatever it is. So in the minute, because of the slowness in with ourselves, we're actually putting a lot of our data through SharePoint to try and get it, and having to do a lot of manumatic stuff in the background to allow people just to see their data weekly. We have, in the last 2 months, been able to get our risk management data available just in time, basically within 24 hours. So as you input it, it's available and updated within 24 hours. And that itself is a massive shift. That's a massive shift to the mindset we're normally used to, because we were shackled by the financial monthly reporting system. And we've done a lot to move away from that to have get real-time data. I know I'm talking 24 hours there, etc., and using Power BI and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I think there is a lot of challenges, which isn't just about the will and the want of people. There's a lot for an organisation, especially the big corporate ones like ourselves, to shift because of whether it's data security, whether it's data infrastructure. You know, it's not. There is a lot to go at. So it'll take years, but yeah, I'm very keen to get, jump on David shirt tails really, or coat tails, and jump on some of the stuff he's done, because I think he's got probably a lot of the answers that I need. I'm sorry, there's a big sun behind me. I don't know if you have the same sun.
Yeah, there are lots of challenges, David. I think we're trying to work out for now what can we do with the infrastructure and stuff we've got. And there's actually quite a lot you can do, or a lot we can do, I guess. Not knowing exactly the specifics around EDF, but yeah, that's kind of what we're trying to do, because then we can start to show, look, we can do this with what we've got now. You know, if we had this, we could deliver some really big benefits. So, you know, the proof's always in the pudding, right? So we need to show the benefits we can deliver before people will then give that trust to then do more.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I'm trying to go after it.
In answer to your question, Dave, as well, or just taking that forward, when we had a meeting with David Belshaw a couple of weeks ago, following this adoption, as Rolls-Royce has done, of getting people on who will be the change agents, and exactly what you've said on that concern about security, there's the potential to just start with little baby steps, which can lead so quickly to massive steps on looking at, you quoted the example of your risk management, of something tiny that is internal, keep it internal, and potentially get our data team at Projecting Success or whatever with the people who are now learning what tools are available, just to solve something that is really causing everyone so much grief, and it's probably just a tiny little problem that needs to be solved, that can be solved, and everyone goes, oh, that's amazing, it's been hassling us for years. Has that been put correctly, David, from from what we were talking about?
Yeah, I think as we solve some of those challenges, it just unlock the way for people to again build that trust to be able to do more and more. And I think there's lots of stuff to go out, and I would say, generally speaking, I don't know, just from my perspective, there's quite a difference in a lot of the teams in terms of data literacy. So there's loads of like really low hanging fruit to go after. So yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Well, David, that was superb. Really enjoyed that a lot. I think you nailed it. I think you inspired a lot of people. And most importantly, you've shown them a path, right? So a lot of this sounds theoretical, but you're doing it. You're doing it for real. And even though you're a relatively new starter compared to, some of the other companies I've been working with for years, you're motoring ahead. And that's down to your leadership. So well done. Brilliant stuff. Love it.